7.86, his best dive of the competition, and what a way to finish the 3-metre event for Graham Banks from Australia. Jeff Arbon, he needs a good dive as well. Started off in 5th place, slipped back to 8th. His final dive, a reverse 1.5 somersault with 2.5 twists, 2.9. Better dive from Jeff. That was better. He's been inconsistent, which is very unusual for him.
7, 7.5, 7, 7, 6.5, 7.5.
The judges liked it. 61.77. Kim White, the national coach on the right there, just telling him how it could have improved. The leader of the competition then, diving the second most difficult dive of the competition, a reverse 1.5 somersault, 3.5 twists. Craig Rogerson of Australia, bronze medal 4 years ago. Well, there was a bit of forward travel, but I think the dive's going to be good enough. So does Valbedo. Rogerson, the 24-year-old newsagent from Brisbane, just a hint of a pike on entry. Leads, remember, by 15 points, scores 69.3. Sevens, a 6.5 from New Zealand and a 7.5 from the Zimbabwean judge Rob Stewart. Those are good marks. This is Dave Bedard. Was in second after 9 dives, slipped back to 7th. And that's how he can dive. Much fancied to win this title, but it all went away from him around about round 7, 8 and 9.
7.5, 8, 7.5.
Such a good diver, a consistent diver normally. 66.99. Tony Alley next to go, the youngest diver in the competition, an outstanding future ahead of him. 16 years of age, from Catford. Inward, 2.5 somersault with pike, 3.0. Bit short. Tries to do is get the somersault in before he gets back to board level, and definitely the arms weren't extended when he entered, hence the marks, the dive score of 54.9. Next to go, the Australian Mike Murphy, who slipped from 3rd place to 5th place after 10 dives. Murphy, who'd improved from 7th to 5th, then 3rd, had a weakish 10th dive. But that was strong. Tariff's not high at 2.9 for that reverse 1.5 somersault with 2.5 twists. He's the Australian champion, 16 years of age. Lives in Brisbane. He's got the makings of a great diver. 6s and 7s, 60.03. Tony Young, and there's a big cheer for this New Zealand champion. He's really having a disastrous time of it. He's lying in 13th position. He has scored 51 points, but he's had some 19s and 26s. This is final dive, a back 2.5 somersaults with 2.5 twists. Tariff 2.8. And still short. The dive list just too difficult for him. He'd surely be better off with easier dives done better. Just trying dives that he hasn't quite mastered yet. I don't think it's about the occasion. I do think it's about the selection of the dives.
3.5, 4.5, 4.5, 4, 5.5, 4, 57.80.
37.8. The lady, judge number 3, Bev Boys, the most successful diver ever in the Commonwealth. This is Peter Smith from Scotland. Now lying in 10th position. He's got a good future as well. Another reverse dive coming back towards that board. And you must think about that accident he had yesterday every time he does that dive. But he's done well to compete after that accident yesterday. And there's a lot more diving in that boy. Didn't control the twist. Bill Law, consoling him, 51.33. Larry Llewellyn from Canada, lying in 4th place, just outside the medal positions. And a good dive here could make all the difference. A forward 1.5 somersault with 3 twists, Tariff 2.9. The oldest diver in the competition at 24. That's interesting. That's a good dive. Puts the pressure on Morgan. Was a good dive. Forward, 1.5 somersaults, the 3 twists, and a lovely ripping entry. Medal score high. 64.38. The judges agreed on that dive. Next diver then, Bob Morgan, lying in 2nd place. Needs 53.4 to overtake Murphy for the bronze. This a reverse 3.5 somersault tuck. And it's disaster for the Welshman Bob Morgan. I can't believe that. And I don't think he will either. That, the most difficult dive of the competition, 3.5. Normally, the more difficult they get, the better Morgan gets, but not when it mattered. The split feet, and that was awful. 36.75. And that is goodbye to any medal hopes that he might have had. Jason Statham from England, next to dive. Back, 1.5 somersaults, 2.5 twists. Tariff 2.8. Well, a good final dive from Jason. He needed it. He's had 2 or 3 very poor ones, but that was better. And when your confidence goes in diving, most of your dives suffer. And that was a better dive.
6, 5.5, 5.5, 5.5.
6 is down to 5.5, 47.88. Mark Rourke from Canada was 10th, now lying in 3rd position. This a reverse 1.5 somersault with 3.5 twists, 3.3, and it's done in the free position. Well, he's lying in 3rd. In 2nd place so far is Llewellyn from Canada. Of course, Rogerson still in the lead. What did the judges think about that? Because it was short. You could see the definite pike on entry there.
6 and a half, 6, 6 and a half, 6, 6 and a half, 6, 62.3.
The handshake. The judges giving him 6-5, 6-5, 6s, and that good enough to win him the silver medal. Good final dive from Rourke, and the final diver of the competition, Steve Forrest from Scotland, the Scottish national champion. And rounding proceedings off with the forward 3.5 somersaults with tuck, 2.8. Stephen, 19 years of age, a bank official in Edinburgh, a member of the Edinburgh Diving Club.
5, 4.5.
The dive a bit short.
6, 6, 46.
And the judges scoring it 46.2. So, there's no doubt about it. Craig Rogerson from Australia takes the gold. The silver goes to Mark Rourke of Canada, and the bronze goes to Llewellyn of Canada. Bob Morgan finished in 7th position, did lead the competition, of course, as we joined it.
Yes, it all rather slipped away from Bob Morgan in those latter stages. To go live to the diving pool there, we broke away from our coverage of the women's 100 metres butterfly heat, so we're going to take you back there to Heat 3. And this is the lineup for Heat 3. Madeleine Scarborough going for England in lane 5, perhaps our best hope of a medal. Samantha Purvis in lane 6 for England, and in lane 7, Janine Taylor for Jersey.
Final heat of the ladies 100 butterfly. Madeleine Scarborough from England in 5 and Sam Purvis from England in lane number 6. The fastest time so far by Lisa Curry-Kenny of Australia, 61.53. Only 2 girls so far under 63 seconds. That's Madeleine Scarborough in the lead there, in the white cap. The 25-year-old school teacher from Portsmouth, coached by Chris Nesbitt, who's here in Auckland. She'll turn first in 29.42.
Madeleine had to dive into a turn a little bit there, which is always a little bit disconcerting, but had a super turn, took about a yard off the Australian, which is a great turn for Madeleine. She's been so punchy in the past couple of days, typical sprint swimmer. Everything's just bottling up inside, and then hopefully she's just going to let it all go on this 100 metres butterfly.
And she's looking very good indeed. Remember, the fastest time so far, 61.53, and this is a good swim from Scarborough. Sam Purvis for England coming back, just about getting ahead of Alessandra, but the winner, Madeleine Scarborough, 62.26. That means she'll qualify for the final in 2nd place. That was a good swim from Sam Purvis as well.
Yes, both qualifying well from that final heat of the women's 100 metres butterfly, Madeleine Scarborough and Samantha Purvis. So there are 3 English swimmers in the final lineup. Samantha Purvis, Madeleine Scarborough, joined by Caroline Foote, who will be going there in lane 2, but certainly the swimmer to beat, as ever, in lane 4, Lisa Curry-Kenny of Australia. Take it to weightlifting now, a good current run of home success in that competition. Prospect of more in the 90 kilogram snatch competition with Duncan Dawkins going for England. Jim Neely is the commentator.
Right along. Get yourself ready.
Onto the platform for the first time in this, the 90 kilogram division, the 14 stone 2 men, the defending champion from Edinburgh, England's Keith Boxall, now 31 years old, the man who holds Commonwealth Games records in this particular discipline, the snatch, at 155 kilograms on that bar, 147.5, and that's 325 pounds, and he makes it look very easy. Good lift by Boxall, and that puts him into the lead straight away with his first lift. So 147.5 kilograms, made to look comparatively like great technician. Boxall, 31 years old, whipped that above his head, arms perfectly straight, and a splendid lift. Hardly any movement at all, a little raise of the heels, and didn't